2025. This is my reading journal. I am very sad to kind of let it go because I've used this since 2023 and now at 2025 I in my last few pages. I haven't fully filled it out. I have a few books left that I haven't put my ratings and titles, but one of the spreads that I have used since 2023 is the book bracket. Here it is, and it is the 29th of December, and I thought this is as good as day as any to fill in my book bracket. I have read 25 books this year. My goal was 40 books, but I didn't get to that, but I'm still very happy for 25 books. I think I mostly managed to read every single month. I think at one I finished a book at the start, the first of one kind of month. I don't remember, like March or something, and I kind of counted it towards the previous month. I don't remember which month, but we're gonna get to it. And I'm gonna go through the books I have read each month this year and figure out my favorite and then put them against each other. So let's see what is the best book of 2025 with this. So let me scroll through. I'm using Storygraph to see my stats because I use Storygraph mostly. So in January I read 2 books, and that was The Invention of Morale and Pseudo-Armor Volume 1. I gave it 3.75 stars, and Pseudo-Armor is a graphic novel by Purbach, and I gave it 4 stars. I loved it. It was cute. I haven't finished it. I haven't, I think, read more of the volumes. I should, but I haven't used Webtoon as much, and I just loved it. I gave it 4 stars. I think that's the January one. I'm gonna write it down. And now to move to February, I read 3 books, and those were Oedipus Rex, The Witch Who Trades with Death, and Secret History. I don't think I need to talk more about this. If you know me, you know I love Dark Academia. I finally got through Secret History and I absolutely loved it. So it is going through for February. So for March, I read The Death of Ivan Illich and My Dark Vanessa. Yeah, those are the 2. And I am looking at Storygraph. I haven't reviewed My Dark Vanessa, but between these 2, between Tolstoy's novella and or short story, and Kate Elizabeth Russell's contemporary fiction, I am thinking of My Dark Vanessa. It was interesting to read. It was very it wasn't hard, but like it was an emotional roller coaster, but not in the way of like, oh, I was crying and laughing, but it just was very hard hitting. And there's gonna be a book later in the video that is also, I could compare it to reading that book. And also I read this at school. I was reading this at school. It was very weird to read it there, but I loved it. Right now thinking I would probably give it 4.5 stars. I think April was the Magical Readathon spring semester equinox. I didn't graduate this year, and this was my first year of doing it, but I read 3 books, and that was Life of Melody, Mary Costa, this is a graphic novel, Stone Blind by Natalie Haynes, historical fiction, and The Plague by Albert Camus. And I think it's quite easy to say that The Plague wins here. I got this book during my trip to London, and I just loved reading this. It was very interesting. This is my first Albert Camus book that I have read, and I want to read so many more. Like, please, give me it. Next, for May, I have read only one book, and that is The Duchess of Malfi by John Webster. It is a play, and I'm doing a little A-level thingy. I don't take A-levels, but I've decided to try and on my own time self-study A-level English literature with module, and right now there's no progress, but I did manage this year to write one of the exams, and it was about the drama part, and I decided to take The Duchess of Malfi, mostly because there's resources available for that, and because it was the only book I read, I probably should have to write it for May, even though I didn't fully enjoy it. For June, again, a single book, but I am more than happy to put it here. That is The Baptism Fire by Andrzej Sapkowski, the 5th book of the Witcher series, and I absolutely love it. I don't think there is a book in the Witcher series that I hate, and I just want to read more of Witcher. Like, I completely love it. I think I have a blog reading either this one or one of the Witcher series in my channel. I can link it down below or in the iCard. But yeah, this is definitely the best book of June. In July, again, why am I reading, like, my summer reading was kind of bad. But I read one book, and that was Haruki Murakami's Dance, Dance, Dance. Absolutely loved it. I can see it's a 5-star in my story graph. I am more than happy to add it here. I actually spoke about it in my English class at school. I did a 15-minute presentation on this. It was kind of a book review, but also kind of just a look of what are the themes and problems discussed in this book, and I absolutely fell in love with it again. I kind of want to reread it, but that's out of my schedule right now because I have so many books to read, and it's crazy. For September, again, a single book. Wow. I read for school biography, Meklējot Ring. This is a Latvian book by Andris Akmentiņš. It's a biography of one of Latvian's translator. He translated The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde into Latvian, my favorite book of all time. But since, oh wait, I just realized there's no August. This is the month I didn't read. Yeah, I guess there's not going to be an August. That's fine. Next up, we move to October, and I finally broke the record of reading one, and I actually read, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4 books. This is definitely my highest reading month. And I read one of the most famous poets of Latvian poets, Rainis Gals un Sākums. This is a poetry collection. I don't like it. I like the idea of it, but this semester we have had so much of his writing, like plays and poetry and everything and translations, that I'm just kind of sick of him. So I am definitely not putting this as my highest. Then I read for history the Saga of Nibelungs. I enjoyed it, but it's definitely more for historical research, so I wouldn't put it the highest. Then there is my favorite author, Oscar Wilde. I read A Woman of No Importance. I gave it 4.75 stars in Storygraph, and I enjoyed it quite a lot, mostly because it's Oscar Wilde. I love anything Oscar Wilde writes, but I felt like there was something missing from it. But the next one, which I am probably going to put on my October best book, is A Little Life. I read A Little Life for the first time, and I'm planning to reread it with my friend. We are crazy. I don't know how I will reread it. I'm already like a little bit like but this is the book that I was talking about that is kind of hard-hitting. Definitely read trigger warnings. I loved how Jack Edwards put it. I would never recommend this book, but it is amazing. And I don't want to speak more about it. It's just something that has no words. Hanya Yanagihara is amazing author. I can't believe I read it only this year, but I'm so happy that I did read it. So to move on to November, I read also 4 books. No, even 5. Wow, I am at the end of autumn this year. I am very good at reading it, apparently. So, continuing my readings of Rainis, I read Jāzeps un viņa brāļi. It is again a Latvian kind of play. It's a play kind of retelling parts of the Bible of, Joseph. I don't know the biblical characters in English. I didn't like it. I gave it 3.25 stars. I feel like it even deserves less, but that's besides the point. Then I read the second part of Klusums un Troksnis duology by Gustavo. This is a Latvian contemporary writer with LGBTQ AI plus representation, and I absolutely loved it. I loved the first book, contrary to most of my class who hated it. But I also went around the time at the same week. I went to a play that has both of the duologies, and it's all actually like directed by him, the writer, because he's a theater major, and I absolutely loved it. It was everything. It was a musical, and I kind of wanted the songs to be on Spotify, but I think they aren't still. And I loved it, but let's go move on. I have 3 books left. I need to figure out if this is going to be the first, and I think it's going to be. Next up, I read another book by a Latvian author, and this is actually the wife of Rainis. She is amazing. She is the best. I read Vaidalude, a play, because I have a Latvian and Literature Olympiad coming soon this January, and I'm trying to prepare for that, and I enjoyed the play. It was a nice refresh from her husband, but I gave it 4 stars. I don't know what was lacking in it. I loved it, but something was there that I couldn't give it the full 5 stars. And to be honest, I'm trying not to give whole 5 stars. And I also read Goethe's Faust, but I read it in Latvian, and I think it was kind of a problem. I read only the first part, and I don't know what to give it because I am so blinded by the translation. I don't like the translation. I want to get back to this work and read it either in German when I am better at German, or in English, find an English translation that I like. So this is not going up. And the last book I read in November, finished the 29th, is The Song of Roland. This is again for history, and I didn't even finish it, but I come to this reading because I spent so much time reading the text, you know. And again, similar of Song of Nibelungs, I just think it's such a research type of book that I didn't fully enjoy it. And actually, I like the Song of Nibelungs better than Song of Roland. So by this, I think Pasaulē mīļākais troksnis is the winner. So I have read in December 2 books. I actually finished one yesterday, and one that I read towards the start of December is a non-fiction book, and that is You Will Get Through This Night by Dan Howell. My classmate did a book review, the same I did with Dance and Dance. She did it for this book, and I was amazed that she did it because I watched Dan Howell, Dan and Phil. I have watched for a while, then I went away from them, and now recently, after the announcement, I have come back to them. And wow, this book was interesting. I don't know how much I can rate it. I actually thought I did rate it, but I didn't, apparently. This book it's quite simple. It's a self-help book about mental health. And the tips and tricks written there weren't anything new and something mind-boggling, I appreciated the fact that they are put in one place and there's the theory behind it. I really like psychology, and it very much interested me, and I like the fun little jokes that he managed to put in them, so I liked it. But the book I read yesterday was The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. And oh, it is such a cozy fantasy, and I loved it. I think, oh, this is gonna be hard. I don't know if I give it 5 stars, but I loved it. I already have a Pinterest board for the fan art. Like, I love it. And again, LGBTQIA plus representation, and I absolutely love it. I want to read more of it, but sorry, I can't yet. But I think that is winning, even though it would be an amazing change of my reading to have nonfiction. I think it's The House of Cerulean Sea. So I moved the location, but I'm gonna do a rapid fire round of everything else. I realized I was already kind of doing while moving, thinking of the first bit up, and I'm already okay. So January, February, Suited Armor or Sacred History. Sacred History. My Dark Vanessa or The Plague. I'm gonna say March wins for My Dark Vanessa. Then May and June, The Duchess of Malfi or Baptism Fire. Easy, Baptism Fire. July and August, I only read in July, and so it wins Dance Dance Dance. September and October, MacLeod is Ring or A Little Life, A Little Life. And then we come to the hardest part, which is November and December. Pasala Bintakis Kusums or The House in the Cerulean Sea. And I don't know, they're both so good, and the thing is, they're kind of similar. I looked at last year when I read the first part of the duology of Pasala Bintakis Kusums, and I realized I've read the first part right after the month after I read Ethan Frome, which was my favorite book of last year. And I think if I hadn't read Ethan Frome, Pasala Bintakis Kusums, the first part, probably would have won last year. And now it's this year. And do I give this author the chance to? But realistically, I know what I have read before. I think there wouldn't be a chance. TJ Klune or Gustavo. I'm gonna give it to Pasala Bintakis Kusums, because I resonated with the characters so much, and it was everything I ever wanted for the duology. Next up, we're moving to, it's already the finals. There's 3. I'm gonna choose between 3 to choose the winners. So, let's go Secret History or My Dark Vanessa. Secret History. I'm gonna write them down. Don't have much time. So, Baptism Fire or Dance Dance Dance. I chose Baptism Fire, and then there's A Little Life and Pasala Bintakis Kusums. I chose A Little Life. Now for the winner. I think it's quite easy. It's gonna be A Little Life. Hanya Yanagihara, you have everything I ever wanted. You wrote the most gut-wrenching novel of my year, and it is gonna be the best book of 2025. With that, I have very little for my camera. I will say goodbye, and let's see you in the next video. Bye!